The news day continues here on One News Now. I'm Riza Diaz. Cebu City continues to grapple with the surge of COVID-19 cases. And as their positivity rate hits the highest ever recorded at 56.2%, we are getting details straight from Cebu City Mayor. Mayor Michael Rama is joining us this morning. Mayor Rama, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Risa. Good afternoon to the televiewers.
Mayor, would like to know how are you? How are your constituents? Can you share with us the numbers as to how many people are already infected with COVID-19 in Cebu City?
If you're talking about how are we've been challenged since the time of Odette, then the creeping and now the prominence of Omicron, but we are continuously putting all our guards, not having to lower it, but we are now very serious, very, very serious. Precisely, meron tayong Executive Order 157, RISA, na kailangan lahat, in the meantime, kung wala essential, substantial, reasonable justification ng mga activities, stay at home muna.
Mayor Rama, go ahead,
Yes.
sir.
Yeah, kaya when you're talking about, we never had this in terms of positivity rate, but it is unexpected from our medical explanation because of it being too contagious, itong Omicron. But there was a time na 0.0 positivity rate kami, Risa, before Odette. Pagdating ng Odette, at saka tingin ko ito yung window na talagang nagiging enticing para kay Omicron. Kasi lahat naman hindi mo pwedeng sabihin tigil, but rather everybody was looking for food, water, power, and even parang magnet yung generator for charging. Kaya the possibilities, that is where Omicron creep in. But this time, we already been very clear, stay at home, except otherwise you get under the pain of being into some trouble with our task force Oplan Oyo pa rin, yung police.
Mayor Rama, this order that you are implementing again to curb the spread of the virus, kailan po ang start nito at hanggang kailan po ito mai-implement?
It is being anticipated na hanggang end of the month. But we have to assess, especially next week, by next week, end of the month na, di ba? So if and when we don't see any improvement that much, then I will be calling the convergence. Meron kaming convergence, Risa, that has been very helpful ever since I came in as acting mayor for a couple of times hanggang naging full-fledged acting mayor. Then consequently, our mayor died. So I became now, by operation of law, mayor. So with vice mayor, I call him vice mayor councilor kasi nagtatakbo yan ng councilor. Councilor at vice mayor, Dondon Hontiveros. Hanggang end of the month ito, Risa.
Bukod po doon, Mayor, meron pa po ba kayong ibang measures that are being undertaken to make sure again na hindi na po kakalat itong Omicron among your constituents?
We have already a lineup, including already having an aggressive preparation for our TTMF, of which it will be hopefully available that will cater to 400. Number two, we have an ongoing accommodation from our public hospital, which can also accommodate 100. Then the third, we hope that through UPAB, then the church plus the DOH with the private sector, we will be able to have the usual, very useful IEC pavilion where we can in the meantime, more of a step down rather than on a critical or severe. Kasi iba kasi um, itong Omicron, ibang klase ito, Risa. Even yung Oplan 557 ko, yung Executive Order 157 ko, highlighted for the first time much on home quarantine. Home quarantine, yun talagang ini-encourage. Pangatlo, yung Executive Order ko 157, yung mismo mga hospital are not much being demanded to accommodate yung mild, but rather they have to have the judgment call, reserving it for the critical and the moderate to do away overwhelming our hospital.
Mhm. Mayor Rama, do you have numbers as to how many residents in Cebu City are vaccinated already?
You're talking about, first, we have master listed over our population, which is 1 million. Number two, we already have, all in all, utilized from the time I learned 1 million vials, but a combination of not only from Cebu City being vaccinated, but even our neighboring cities and even other who mag-a-arrive ng Cebu. Ngayon, you're talking about, we're almost going towards fully vaccinated, yung 700,000 namin na fully vaccinated. Kaya towards na kami ng aming target, yung fully vaccinated of 700,000.
Mhm. Mayor Rama, we would like to take this opportunity to also ask you about the topic on Typhoon Odette, because you mentioned earlier
Okay.
it's one of the many challenges. We're getting reports, Mayor, that some of Cebu City's LGU's ayuda for affected residents were given to residents of other cities. Can you clarify this issue to us?
I don't think it could be a possibility, but you can never, if from down the level, if there are shenanigans, and then they pretend to be Cebu City's residents and helped by some people within a particular barangay, likelihood that can even happen. But we have warning them, even the barangay officials, even our leaders in the ward, sitios, or down to the nook and crannies in our barangay, never to do that, because otherwise they will be in trouble and they get arrested for being fraudulent. That is deceit.
Right. Mhm. Mayor, final question. Balik po tayo sa COVID situation in Cebu City. Do you see the city perhaps reaching its peak already and slowly mag-decrease na po itong mga number of cases ninyo anytime soon?
Ano po? Hindi ko masyadong narinig yun.
Sa tingin niyo po ba anytime soon makikita na po natin, given all these measures that you're implementing, na bababa na po yung mga cases ng infection po sa Cebu City?
I don't find any reason if all will be cooperating. Talagang yung pinaka-importante dito, yung emphasis ng executive order na 157, household parental supervised lockdown. Doon mismo sa household, doon na ang discipline, doon na ang pinaka-importanting enforcement. Kung hindi nila pwede yon, nandan yung police na nag-augment, nandan yung curfew ordinance, nandan yung sinasabi nating mga minors na hindi po pwede pumapasok ng mga establishment. Saka kung merong minor man, dapat fully vaccinated, sama naman ng adult na fully vaccinated. Unless they're entering because of humanitarian reason or activities that is essential.
Mm-hmm. Mayor Rama, maraming salamat po sa inyong
Walang
pagpunta
anuman
sa amin
po.
this morning.
God bless. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good
Ingat
morning.
po kayo. Yes,
Kayo din. Thank you.
That's Cebu City Mayor Michael Rama. Meanwhile, presidential bets expressed their frustration over the failed unity talks before the filing of candidacy for the 2022 elections. At the GMA7's presidential interviews aired yesterday, candidates Vice President Leni Robredo, Senator Ping Lacson, and Manila City Mayor Isko Moreno were asked how they felt about the failed unity talks before the filing period. For Robredo, unification will be hard, but not impossible. But for Lacson, he felt there was no concrete plan on how to unify the opposition. Both said it's not too late to talk about unification. Meanwhile, Moreno said he would have joined had there been a proper discourse about it. Now, he also remained coy on whether he supports the administration. Meanwhile, the Presidential Task Force on Media Security supports the decision of some media practitioners to arm themselves as protection against threats. PTFOMS Executive Director Joel Eggo said that the members of the media need to fight back because it is the natural instinct of a person. However, he noted that firearms should only be used in self-defense. This comes after New York-based Committee to Protect Journalists reported that the Philippines remains one of the deadliest countries for journalists worldwide. We'll be back with more stories after the break. Keep it here on One News. You're still watching One News Now. I'm Riza Diaz. UK's National Health Service staff protested against the vaccine mandate for all health workers. This comes after the British government required vaccination for health and care home workers starting April 1st. With this, all health workers must present their proof of vaccination by April in order to continue working. However, some medical frontliners at the NHS disagree with this vaccine mandate. Now, NHS England Medical Director Dr. Nikki Kanani urged those marching to think about their patients as well as their colleagues.
I think it's a really difficult time for some people to make a decision that is fundamentally about protecting them and their families and their communities. So if you're marching today, just take a moment, think about the people that you've been looking after who have experienced COVID, think about your colleagues who you've been working with, and think about the best way to make sure that we're all protected and that we're all as safe as possible, because we are very much in this together and it's down to us to look after each other too.
Now, a new COVID cluster has been found among cold chain workers in Beijing. Now, this adds to concerns about contaminated goods spreading the virus. Here's the Bloomberg report.
Emma, what do we know about this cluster and some of the theories that are being discussed?
Yeah, I mean, 5 people working in a cold chain storage facility in the district of Beijing have tested positive for COVID. This is part of a relatively small, by global standards, flare-up in the capital that's nonetheless causing a lot of consternation, given we're just weeks away from the start of the Winter Olympics. So officials are saying that the facility these people worked in deals with imports as well as other sort of cold chain products sent around China. and that these workers who tested positive hadn't left Beijing in the past 2 weeks. So the implication being potentially they might have contracted the virus from products, which is a very favoured theory of Beijing's.
So what is next for China in trying to contain the virus?
Yeah, I mean, they haven't been able to get back to this much vaunted zero cases for many months now, basically since Delta, much more transmissible, got into the country. And now we do have Omicron in China as well, with a couple of epicenters, the main one being in Tianjin. So at this stage, they are still prosecuting the virus very stringently. They are trying to lens in and find, every case to snuff them out through mass testing, that sort of thing. And it is causing a fair bit of disruption, persisting with this strategy. And then the outlook for that is that it will continue for some time to come, at least, through the Winter Olympics and probably through the Communist Party Congress this year, which we don't have an exact date for.
And those are the top stories of the hour. Join us later again at 1:30 in the afternoon as we continue to monitor the day's biggest stories. You can also catch the news on Signal Play app. Register for a free account now at www.signalplay.com and stream One News live anytime, anywhere. I'm Riza Diaz. Mask on, wash hands, and stay safe, Philippines. We are One News.